right. Welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning? Is everybody enjoying the rain? Yeah, fantastic. I watered the garden this morning, so that's probably what it is. I wasted that water on the garden. But welcome to the Center of Unity. We are so excited that you're joining us this morning. We're seeing lots of new faces out there, so welcome, welcome. If it's your first time, we just want to say fantastic. We're glad you're here this morning. We hope you enjoy being with us this morning. And if you're joining us online, we want to say welcome to you as well. If you would put a comment in there and just let us know that you're with us this morning, then that'll be fantastic. We're going to go ahead and get started here this morning. The words are going to be on the screen. We'd love to hear you sing with us. Here we go. Give thanks to the Lord, our God and King. His love endures forever. For he is good, he is above all things. His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise. With a mighty hand and outstretched arm, his love endures forever. For the life that has been reborn, his love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever. From the rising to the setting sun, his love endures forever. And by the grace of God we will carry on. His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever. Do that again, forever. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever. We're going to do the ooze now. Oh, 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 oh. Do that again one more time. Let me hear you. Sing praise, 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 sing praise. Forever God is faithful, forever God is strong, forever God is with us, forever. Forever you are faithful, forever you are strong, forever you are with us, forever. Forever.
Good morning, everyone. So excited that we've got my BFF over here, Byron, playing on the piano, and Noelle is with us this morning, too. I know it's going to be some amazing special music today. It always is. Glad you are here with us. Glad you are joining us online, and in this celebration, certainly we are celebrating some rain. I wish it would have done what the forecaster said it would have done and come at 5 a.m., but it is what it is. We're grateful it's here. Grateful for those of you who were brave enough to step out into the rain. As you'll discover, we've got some people joining us today, and they drove a ways to be with us here today. And grateful for this opportunity just to celebrate the multicolored that we all represent as part of this community. We're going to sing another song, aren't we? What are you doing back there?
Hopefully we'll all do it the right way this time.
I feel like they're going like this behind me when I'm speaking or something.
No, I wouldn't do that. So we're going to sing this song. I love it when Noel does this song. It's just it's so cool. It's such an amazing song. But, the world that we live in has an idea about us and what we are. And if you're not successful, if you don't have a lot of money, if you're not famous, if you're not doing something amazingly important, then you're really not really anybody, the way that the world sees us. But God has an entirely different view of you. You are chosen. You are exactly where you are at the right time, at the right moment to do exactly what you were supposed to do. You are an amazing, wonderful child of God. Let's do this song.
Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but He brought me in. Oh, His love for me. Yes, His love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free at last, He has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to myself, Jesus rescued me. Yes, He rescued me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I
So sing this. Let this get down into your spirit. Let this get down into your
I
spirit.
am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken.
Good morning. I'm Madeline. This is Ganera. We're on your care team, and we'll be at the prayer room after service for about 20 minutes to pray with you for whatever you need to be prayed with for. Today's daily word is reflection. I reflect the brilliant light of God.
God, the one presence and power in the universe, is expressing through all people, the natural world, and all aspects of life. If I ever doubt the presence of God, I need only behold the world around me. The light of God is being reflected in the kind words and acts of people, in the beauty and the magnificence of nature, and in life's grand rhythms and minuscule movements. I, too, reflect the brilliance of God. My idea, dreams, and all I do to make my mark on the world are just some of the ways the divine expresses uniquely as me. Living from a divinity, I bring more of God's light into the world.
From Corinthians 3:18, and all of us, seeing the glory of the Lord as though reflected in a mirror, are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another.
Healing prayer. We just gather in all of those prayer requests, those we hold here in this box, those we've received through our online prayer submission, and those that we hold in our hearts and in our minds. And in a special way, we just surround and enfold Brigitte and her extended family as they navigate the loss of her son Gordon. And we also just surround and enfold Arlene in our loving and healing energy so that they all feel that they are connected in this time of challenge and loss to that one power, that one presence that extends itself through each of us. For all of these who have asked for us to hold this sacred space of knowing that God's in the midst, we just send out our love, our understanding, our comfort, and that presence of God's divine eternal energy that connects us all, here in this human form and beyond in the spirit world. And for the magnificent ways in which all of this unfolds, we say thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
If I could, I'd protect you from the sadness in your eyes, give you courage in a world of compromise. Yes, I would, if I could. I would teach you all the things I never learned, and I'd help you cross the bridges that I burned. Yes, I would, if I could. I would shield your innocence from time. But the part of life I gave you is mine. I watched you grow so I could let you go. If I could, I would help you make it through the hungry years. But I know that that I could never cry your tears, but I would if I could. If I live in a time and place where you don't want to be, you don't have to walk along this road with me. My yesterday won't have to be always. If I knew, I'd have tried to change the world I brought you to, but there wasn't very much that I could do, but I still would if I could. If I could, I would try to steal your innocence from time, but the part of life I gave you isn't mine. I watched it grow so I could let you go. If I could, I would help you make it through the hungry years, but I know that I could never cry your tears, but I would if I could. Yes, I would. Yes, I would if I could.
All right. So the title of my talk today is Memes Matter. How many know what that means? Yeah, a few. If you were around about a year and a half ago when I did the series on the colors in the Bible, you would remember that a meme is the word given to this cultural view in the spiral dynamics model. For those who this might be a new concept to them, let me just give you a brief overview. So people think in different ways, yes? Yes. Family members, coworkers, friends, neighbors, even your spiritual community, individuals in there might have very different worldviews. They might have different values, some that overlap, some that might be unique. We certainly have different countries sharing this planet that seemed to have totally different worldviews from our worldview here in the West. And their worldviews affect, as all worldviews affect, not just our own spiritual lives, but our policies and values and interests and the whole gamut of life and the culture of life. Spiral dynamics was introduced by Dr. Clare Graves in the 1960s as a way to try and look at this from the long view of humankind, and later popularized by Dr. Don Beck and Christopher Cohen. And it just offers a framework, a broad, we're very complex, but this is a broad way to just understand our own cultural evolution through the history of humankind. And it uses a color system to help sort of identify these different stages. There's no real rhyme or reason other than somebody decided that this was the way the colors were going to look. And it gives us a way in which we can perhaps communicate about them a little better. So when we take a look at the spiral, the beige at the very bottom is our initial human beginning, around 250,000 years ago, where survival was the primary focus and value. It makes sense, right? Just getting through each day without getting eaten or killed by a neighbor, was a good day. So their focus was on food and shelter and warmth and reproduction. And out of that arose this need for better protection. They discovered, boy, if we band together, our chances of survival are better. So purple rose around 50,000 years ago, where tribes were formed, where rituals were used to try and keep whatever bad juju was happening at bay or make it go away, keep the spirits happy, and ensure the safety of the group. But it also asked people to sacrifice self for the group, for the good of the tribe, including literally sometimes sacrificing your own life. You were the one who was going to get thrown over the cliff or down into the volcano to appease the gods. And so out of that arose the red phase, which is the development of a very strong individual ego. It's kind of where the individual ego came to bring in that sense of power for the individual. It started about 10,000 years ago, they estimate, and the focus was all around self and power and glory and self-expression without guilt or remorse. It was about achievement rather than about how things got achieved. That was a very difficult and violent time, and again, we were back to that place with survival. You didn't know if there was going to be a warring, group of people that came in. It might be your last day on earth. So again, to bring a greater sense of safety and survival, blue rises up around 5,000 years ago, and it's concerned with order, with purpose, with discipline, with tradition, with rules. That's the law came into being around this time. And it was all there to try and, again, bring a greater opportunity for survival to all people. It was about the group. It was about the community. You self-sacrificed for the whole. And as in all things, there was some pushback from that. And out of this, in alignment with the scientific revolution and all these new understandings of life arising, orange developed about 300 years ago. It's what founded this particular country, was that orange value of reason and of science, the focus on mastering our environment for our own self-interest, for our own comfort, for our own success, became the real focus and the real values that were part of that culture. And then around 150 years ago, we began to evolve what they call the green phase. We saw a shift in valuing caring over rationality, in a call for equality and sharing of resources, and this need to try and desire to support the whole rather than the individual. Many called the orange phase the phase of consumerism, and eventually as people consumed enough, they found that they were still empty. There was more that they wanted out of life, which then began to show up in this green phase. And then emerging over these last 50 years is a whole new tier, this tier 2 that we see up here. The first level is yellow, and it is all about being nonlinear and flexible, and to be able to move in the flow of life and recognize and experience the interconnectedness of life, to rely upon the wisdom of the heart rather than just solely the ideas of the mind. It's like it becomes a kaleidoscope of hierarchies and systems and forms that all sort of flow into each other, but there's not the same level of structure about them. And out of that even is this tier 2, and this is just the imaginings of what we see happening. There's very little of the population that's living in this new second tier, so It's more about what we believe and what we see just at those early emergences, which is, again, back to the community. You'll notice that each one of these, it goes back and forth between the individual and a group, and the individual and a group, and that kind of is how oftentimes we individually evolve. We focus on self, and then we want to be engaged in that, in the outer, and then we may come back and forth. So right now, best estimates are that, and I'm going to talk about in the West because it's different in different parts of the world, but in the West, 30 to 40% of the population is largely in the blue meme. Perhaps even lower than that, or the blue and lower. Let's go with that. Blue, we might have some red and some purple still hanging around. And then 40 to 50% is at the orange meme, is at that orange level of values, and 20 to 25% has a green worldview. Less than 2% are up there in that upper tiers. This is, again, a very broad picture, and when it comes to individuals or even communities, we are likely multicolored. We're not likely all one thing. In fact, depending upon our own individual value system, we might, at some levels, be blue, like we're blue when it comes to our family and our authority and our discipline and rules, and orange when it comes to our own self-mastery and interest in the way we achieve success, and green environmentally, and perhaps yellow in our spirituality. We are not just one-dimensioned, we are multi-dimensional, multi-valued beings. I have been reading several books in preparation for my next semester. So this is my wrap-up of what I discovered in my first semester of integral mission-centric communities and how we evolve into that. And I started reading this book, and it inspired my question today. The book is called The Emerging Church by Bruce Sanguin, and it uses this spiral to look at a lot of different aspects. And the one chapter that really piqued my interest asked this question: what color is your Christ? If we're laying over these different value systems, we will all probably at some different aspects see Christ differently. We start from the blue lens, which is the primarily worldview of Christianity, although that's shifting and changing with time, but that's been the worldview. The Christian church was formed in the blue meme. Although you can see some aspects of purple that they brought along into it, and red, the warrior elements, especially in its early years. There was the Crusades and all those kinds of things was a very red energy that they were working with. The traditional Christ we would describe as the one and only Son of God, who suffered and died for our sins, modeling sacrifice of self as part of the journey of a good Christian for some future reward. He is the only truth and the only way and the only life, and if you don't believe, you're going to hell. That was the traditional, and is the traditional lens of the Christ. Through the modern, rational, individualistic orange lens, Christ is the example of extraordinary human potential. These things you can do, and even greater things can you do. Those who apply my teachings will achieve success. The Bible, rather than the literal word of God, becomes rich metaphors and teaching stories rather than a specific set of rules and guidelines to follow. Some call the orange Christ the prosperity Christ, because this is the Christ where you can look at as your model of how to be CEO of your own life. In the green, egalitarian egalitarian, boy, the mouth does not want to work this morning, Christ, as that has arisen, this particular lens and understanding of the Christ is, my teachings are among many paths to the one God. I'm example of universal love and compassion and equality. The Christ of the green value system widens the net to include everybody. All of those who perhaps had been outcast before are now brought in to the family. It is the Christ of all of us. Not just my nation, not just my tribe, not just my religion or my family. It is the Christ that encompasses all. I've been recently seeing these commercials, and I actually went out and looked at their website because they were intriguing. I don't know if you've seen them. They're called He Gets Us. This is an example of a really green Christ. And Nick, we got like a 30-second video. Maybe.
A caring man took a walk. Everywhere he looked, people suffered. Anxiety ran high, hope dwindled, hatred rose. His neighbors had lost trust in the system and in each other. I need to do something, he thought. I'll bring them together and feed them. Around the dinner table, they can talk and see how much they have in common. Shared struggles, shared joy, shared pain. So he prepared a feast and invited all into his home. But some refused to sit at his table because they chose to only see differences. He was heartbroken because he wanted everyone to eat and be filled, not with food and wine, but with compassion.
You can go look at the website. Interestingly enough, they don't really self-identify other than a group of people with a desire to see Christ as one who welcomes all, who gets all, who is a part and a support of all. This yellow turquoise second tier Christ, what was that? What does that Christ look like? It encompasses all of the universe. It's no longer even limited to this earth. It's all cultures, all value systems. And I know this seems like, how can you do that? All value systems get integrated. The very best of every one of these first tier levels is brought into being so that rituals still have, and mysticism still has a place in our life. Power, individual power, still has a place in our life, so that rules and guidelines can help us navigate the complexities at times in our life, so that we know that we are empowered to, within us, we have all these powers that we can do whatever it is that we're called to do, and that as we bring ourselves up into that greater and greater experience of success, we can then use it to embrace and to uplift the communities around us. It knows this hidden wholeness that binds us all together. It can see that even in the midst of really what might appear to us significant differences. It's non-coercive. It's lovingly a hand extended to create space so that everyone has the freedom to evolve and embrace and to live from the place they are right now. Life can embrace paradoxes. Life, and you've heard this from me before, becomes both and, not either or. In our humanness, our tendency is just, we live in this, it's either right or it's wrong. There's not a whole lot of gray. This Christ can say, yes, that can all be true at the same time, and yet there's still this wholeness that exists in the middle of that. So as we move into our time of meditation today, I'm just going to invite you, as we turn our attention inward, to just see where you are in your lens. How does Christ live in you? And it might be multicolored. It may not be one thing, but just to connect with that Christ and see what's alive and what it's seeking to express in and through you. So I just invite you to perhaps close your eyes to help block out all of the external stimuli, or just focus on a point in the room. And take a deep breath. And as you let that breath go, just feel all of you come into this now moment. Your mind, your heart, your spirit, all fully present in this time and in this space. And as you just continue to breathe naturally, imagine that that thinking part of you is now moving slowly down and coming to a gentle rest in your heart region, so that you are truly connecting with, tapping into, activating, bathing your entire being in the wisdom of the heart. And then just allow yourself to open the space for greater understanding, greater illumination of the Christ that lives in you right now. Invite that presence to be front and center in this moment, and to share with you in whatever way that unfolds a vision of its true nature. And then just take a moment to be open to what is seeking to arise in a greater way within you. What value of that Christ life in you is seeking to expand. And as you take another deep breath in, just stay open to how this might unfold for you in the coming days and weeks and months, as you just every now and then check in, using this broad yet easy way of just taking a pulse for where you are in this moment. And as you begin to bring your attention back to this time and to this place, taking another breath in, and in that breath, being aware once again of your body and the chair supporting it. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So as I shared a little bit earlier, each level of this spiral dynamic model arose out of imbalances that were in the previous. There's amazing things that happen in each one, and somehow at times they can seem to get out of balance. The purple, while it created safety for everyone, as I was alluding to, it also didn't allow any individualistic input rights. They couldn't have a say in what was going on, and even, as I alluded to, be asked to sacrifice for the whole. So it gave rise to this individual power of red, and this is the energy that the victor is the one who gets all the spoils. It's just pure physical power and domination. But the shadow, and just like we talked about last week, there's shadows that sometimes develop underneath it, devalues human life. Success is far more important than the method in which you get there. And eventually, we had to move beyond that, or we were going to just destroy ourselves. Humanity was just going to wipe each other out. There would only be a few left, and even then, they may not survive. So that gives rise to this blue, this law and order, this way in which we can more safely be together. And out of that, there arose this challenge that what had developed was rigid and strict and uncaring, and it didn't have the wisdom of the heart as a part of it. It was inflexible. And again, there became this need. We saw this happening in our own history of the last couple hundred years, where out of that rigid church system that had developed in Europe, individuals wanted the freedom to be able to connect with God how they wanted to connect with God from a religious perspective. They wanted to be able to determine their own trajectory in life. They wanted to not just be regulated. If you were born a farmer, all your kids will be farmers. The Chase system, that they wanted to have individual say and power. And if you had the desire and you put the time and effort in, that you could achieve whatever you wanted to achieve. And yet, as we've seen in our history, that out of that orange determination, again, sort of at all costs, that there created this shadow side where it had this ability to exercise its dominion over those who had less power. We saw things like child labor and all sorts of things that were necessary in order for the success of the business, and that was even more important. And the same with the earth. The earth was just here to serve me. And out of that arose the green that we're just been experiencing in the last 150 years, where people say, no, but we also have to, take care of the community and have flexibility and use our resources wisely and maintain harmony. So I just wanted you to see this from a different perspective here, because one of the challenges I think that we're facing right now, and one of the reasons why we see ourselves in a fair amount of conflict, is the increased speed in which these memes seem to be developing. If you look at the bottom, so 250,000 years ago, in the beginnings of our human development, it took about 200,000 years to get to that purple level. It took a long time before they figured out, hey, let's band together. We can be safer. From there, we're looking at just 40,000 years for the red value system to arise, and then 5,000, and then 4,700 years to get to orange. But now look at how quickly things are happening. It seems kind of like a long time when we're just measuring years in our life, but when you look at the whole trajectory of human development, everything's happening really quickly. I mean, we're moving now to less than 100 years or 150 years between orange and green, and then this yellow and turquoise that's now seeking to emerge in a small way started 50 and 30 years ago. So there's a lot of change and growth, and I think sometimes we as human beings don't always, especially if we're blue. Blue's like, this is the way it is, and we're not going to be shifting for nothing. It's interesting, when you kind of lay this lens, you can do this over all sorts of aspects of life, but when I laid it over unity, I had this observation, because unity's in its we're not quite 150 yet, but in its 100+ years of being in existence, there's always been this tension and pull. Are we Christian? Are we not Christian? Who are we as a movement? Where traditional churches have a very clear vision of that. Unity's shifted and changed over time. But what I realized is that unity embraced this turquoise Christ, this yellow turquoise oneness Christ from the very beginning. But it was dropped into a blue organizational structure, which is what a top-down, you got the top dog, and then you've got those who serve underneath that, with an orange practice, because especially in Unity's early years, it was all about empowering people to know that they are co-creators and they can do all things with that Christ alive with them. And then over the last probably 3, 4, 5 decades, we've started to see how green has wanted to be immersed in the Unity communities. And it's caused, each time we've sort of made some shifts and changes, us to question, who are we? What are we here to do and to be and to express into the world? To be determined, I think, is where we're at right now. So the leap to this second tier both culturally in our lives and in spiritual communities, requires us to successfully integrate all the previous levels. This is what the Christ had successfully integrated all of these different aspects of who we are with you cherry pick the best things out of them and you let the rest go. To transcend, but include those positive aspects in each. And it's not an easy task when our default typical human reaction to the other levels is a rejection. That's how we tend to be. That's our dualistic. Oh, that was bad. Red power is bad. Blue law is good. Orange, those corporate, bloodsuckers are bad. Green is. So part of our journey is to recognize that there's value that we want to take from all of them. That's the only way we're going to get to this integrated whole. I believe that this is our next spiritual evolution, to embrace the very best that each level has as we integrate the whole demonstrated by the Christ. I picked a green song today just because it had colors in it, but I hope you'll like it. I know you will, because Noelle's going to sing it for us.
You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or ask a grinning bobcat why he grins? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches that surround you, and for once never wonder what there were. Ranger and the fork are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a hoop, in a circle that never ends. How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn. us paint with all the voices of the mountain. Sing with them. Paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Beautiful. So today is a special day. We are welcoming some new members into our community. I'm going to ask them to come up and stand. Yeah, come on, everybody. Yay. Let's come along here. So I call them new members to our community. Why don't you guys go over that away? Because they're not new to Unity, none of these. We have decades of Unity study and engagement here, as well as even 2 licensed Unity teachers that are part of this growing community that we have here. And I'm just celebrating because I really believe that these and all who are coming to us are going to be an integral part of whatever it is that is our next becoming. So I'm doing something a little different today. I was inspired by all the colors, and I think this is our membership here. The rose petals represent those who are with us, and they are multicolored in here as they represent different aspects of this. So I am going to invite you as I come by, and I'll speak your name, to select a rose petal to add into our community to represent you here. So this is Lynn Weinberg and her partner, Don Johnson. They live up in Denton. That's the other thing. These people have all traveled the distance to come and be a part of us today. So if you would be willing, there we go. Thank you. And Don, I'll ask you to pick a color, any color. There we go. Thank you. This is Janetta Johnson. No, yes. Hudson. I knew that wasn't right as soon as I said it. Yes, Janetta lives up in Denton. She's been with us. She doesn't always come in person, but she is a faithful participant in this community, and we're grateful to have her a part of us. This is Denise Teague, and there we go. Denise is also a licensed Unity teacher, and I didn't ask how to say your last name, Grant. I meant to do that. Terrific. And how would other people say it?
Badly, it's Grant Trevithick.
Trevithick, but call him terrific. There we go, Grant, yes. So we just ask that you each, as you are stepping into our community, have an opportunity to get to know us. They're also already stepped up and serving. Grant and Lynn have both are going to join the care team this fall, and Denise is going to help guide our spirit groups when they start up. We know that we'll throw down in the fire occasionally playing piano. Janetta, you'll see her ushering and greeting people here. So we hope that you will reach out, get to know them a little bit better. I'm going to allow you to select a rose, please, just to represent and remind you of our love for you, if they'll come out, yes. And then we also have a little gift certificate. Oftentimes we give the story of Unity to new people, but because these people, they had that Unity 101 decades ago, the gift certificate just allows you to go and pick a book of your choice out of our bookstore, something that will continue to help you learn and grow with us. So I'm going to give you one of those, if you would take one of these. And there's one for you. And if you're bold and brave, you can come up and get one of these if you'd really love one that are left over. Let me set this down. So please help me welcome our new members to Center of Unity. I'm going to get a hug. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Looking forward to it. All right. And yes, you're complete. I told them they didn't have to make a speech, just so anybody who might be thinking in the future, well, maybe I'd like to be informed. You don't have to make a speech, and we learn the secret handshake later because we don't want everybody to know that. Well, it is our opportunity now to share of our financial good with this community. We are so grateful for the many channels in which we receive our good, grateful for each of you who are certainly a part of that. In just a moment, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row, and we would ask that you would place your gift in the large basket and then take an affirmation to bless you this week from the smaller basket. And even if you give electronically, which many people do, or this is not your Sunday to share, you can just still come. You can use one of the little cards that are in the pew pockets, or simply just place your hand over the basket. Add your energy to it. See that prosperity flowing in and through your life and the life of Center of Unity. So let us take these gifts or the energy of them into our hands and into our hearts and bless them together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God.
Matt on the spot. All right. Sorry about that. It occurred to me this morning. I'm like, aren't I due pretty soon? I didn't. Okay. All right. So if you're watching us for the first time, we're glad you have chosen to join us. We invite you to visit our website and fill out the connection card. And if you're watching locally, we invite you to visit us in person. If you're visiting us in person for the first time, please complete a visitor card found in the pew pocket in front of you and drop it in the box at the back of the sanctuary on the way out. It's going to be over there in the corner by the entrance. So, for our appreciation, last weekend, a team of volunteers headed for the Awareness Project, a community outreach program to whom we tithe monthly. Our group was there to help wherever they could, to help get them ready for their grand opening, and they were the embodiment of the Awareness Project's mission, which is, we are here to make a difference in the world, starting first with our community. Our folks, with their strong volunteer spirit, took this wonderful community group much closer to the realization of their dream. So too, Amy, Harry, Phyllis, April, Beth, Lori, Lisa, Kristen, Sharon, Nicole, Matt, Norma, and some of our amazing youth ed kids, Jordan, Olivia, Autumn, and Nora. We love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
Here's what's coming up at Center of Unity. Our Spiritual Education Council is in need of a dedicated laptop for adult Sunday school each week. If you have a laptop you aren't using or know of someone who might, please contact Mary Salerno. Join us on Wednesday, July 19th at 6:30 p.m. for a Taizé healing service with a meditative time to enrich your mind, body, and spirit. There will also be a time to receive healing affirmations and energy from the care team. The book club will meet online next Saturday to discuss the book What Was Mine by Helen Klein Ross. The Zoom ID is on the screen, or you can access it from our website or the COU app. The Art of Quantum Living is a transformational 21-day process of self-regulation tools, exercises, and techniques designed to reduce anxiety, foster a raised degree of self-awareness, emotional resiliency, and increased efficacy, as well as embodying positive change. Join Reverend Linda on Zoom for this 6-week course. The course fee is $45 plus the cost of the workbook. Please sign up at our COU website or app. There are multiple ways you can make a donation to Center of Unity. You can drop your donation off at the church, mail it to our P.O. Box, visit our website, or use the COU or Venmo app. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.
I have one more quick announcement. They gave me 1 minute. Don't time me, though. As you know, our social group, Corked, is going to meet you anywhere barbecue in Grapevine. I did go by there, and there's very limited parking, so it would be in our best interest probably to try to carpool. So if you are able to come, some people will go from there because they're closer to their homes. But if you are able to come back to the church, meet out by the welcome desk following the church service, and we'll arrange a carpool. Thank you.
All right. So we want to thank everybody for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you all back next week. I think our kids are back there. Let's sing them in, Bob. Here we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right. Well, they had some messy fun today, and our lesson was about moving mountains and a mustard seed. We'll let them tell you about it.
Today, we had a watermelon race where we had to eat the watermelon and try to get the seeds out and see who got the most seeds out, but I got the most.
Today, we learned about faith.
Today we learned that if you have enough faith in yourself, you can move a mountain.
And there is plenty of leftover watermelon slices in the back if anyone would like a snack. Yeah, and donuts, yes.
All right, so why don't we all stand up together and join hands? Let's do our peace song.
Go into this day, into this week, embracing all of the colors that we are. We go knowing our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Walk.